right, it's working on it. All right, we are live. With these things, there is about a 10-second delay from what we're actually saying to what they actually hear. We've got nobody. We got one. We have one person so far. Hello out there, whoever you are. Drop a comment so we know who's on. We got two.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Coming to you live.
We'll give it a minute or two and we'll go ahead and we'll kind of get started here. Let's see how many more people we can bring in for this first of a kind town hall meeting. We got 3. We got some comments coming in. Let's see, what are they all saying?
Yay, Ed. Yay, Ed. So put your comment in your name. Put your comment in your name. The StreamYard, so StreamYard, so we still see who you are.
Well, good evening, and you are welcome for the support and help we give you. All right, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this town hall meeting. I'm Bob. I'm also joined by Sarah and the 2 Poop Hat moderators, Ashley and Jamie, each sporting their holiday poop hats. So, main reason we're going to have this town hall is we're going to run through the video that Marcus Leshock did with the park president. And it answers a lot of the questions that you guys have been asking on the Junkies page. So, talks about the reservation system. If you've not seen the video, it talks about masks, the new thermal imaging. It's asked about when's the park's even going to open. And that's probably one of the biggest questions we do get these days. When is the park opening? So, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and run the video here and definitely chime in with your comments. And we'll probably be adding commentary while this whole thing is going on. So let me go ahead and get the video rolling.
Hey, everybody. Coming to you from my home studio here just outside of Chicago, Illinois, near Six Flags Great America. It has been way too long since I have posted a video like this or done an episode of my podcast, Post in the Country, my theme park podcast I do through WGN. And, all my podcast equipment is at WGN Studios. And I haven't been at WGN Studios since, March 17th or March 16th, I think it was the last time I was there working. So it's been months since I've been in there. I miss doing the podcast and I miss feedback and talking to all of you guys who've been listening to it and watching these videos and so forth. But there's been so much theme park news this week talking about all these places announcing when they're going to be open, Universal, some of the big names in the business. And Six Flags also put out a video this week where they're talking about all the safety protocols, safety features they're going to be implementing inside their theme parks when they open up after this COVID-19 outbreak. So I was actually off early, taking a little bit of a holiday around Memorial Day, but I took some time to go over to Six Flags Great America on Tuesday and meet with the park president, Hank Salemi. He had a bunch of media out there to talk about sort of these safety protocols that they were unveiling. And just to kind of walk through a little bit and to answer our questions. I know so many of you have had questions about this. And so I'm going to play you basically the entire interview that I did with Hank, but I'm going to break it down into different segments and we can sort of even dive a little deeper into those, because if you watch the news, one of the challenges we have in the news is take all this information that we get and sort of edit it down into like a 2 or 3 minute package, what we call it. And with something like this, you can't get to all of the information that they're giving you in that period of time. So sorry, I'm even blathering right now. It's been 2.5 minutes already. I haven't gotten to the interview yet. So first thing when I went in and talked to Hank was I just asked him straight up, how are things going right now? What's going on, and what can you tell me about overall procedures and how you plan to open this thing up? Take a look.
Really, really working hard. We've put together a very comprehensive plan that when the state of Illinois is ready and we're ready to go, when we feel like we can be as safe as possible, then we're going to be ready to go with a very comprehensive plan that includes capacity control, social distancing, extreme sanitation, and is going to be, like me, wearing these masks that make sure that the people who come here, people who work here, are as relatively safe as anywhere else you can go.
Yeah, and so following up on that a little bit, he mentioned they're talking to the state of Illinois, really trying to convey that information over to them. And the next question I had was, have you actually had any conversations with the state? How much has Six Flags Great America been in contact with officials at the state of Illinois? Here's what he had to say about that.
We have been actively talking to not only the state, Village of Gurnee, Lake County had a very, very good call with the Village of Gurnee and Lake County officials, Lake County Health Department just a few weeks ago. They feel comfortable that we've put a great plan together, and we're hopeful to be able to get that plan in front of the governor's office very, very soon.
And so very soon, what does that mean, right? Like, when are we actually talking with the governor? There have been some reports over the last couple of days that Six Flags Great America would be meeting with the governor's people or having a conference call with the governor's people as soon as this coming weekend. I did follow up with Six Flags Great America to confirm that, and all they would tell me was that there was no definite date that they would be talking with the governor, just that they expect it to happen very soon. So it sounds like there is some avenue of communication there, and they plan to sit down and talk about it very soon. I think one of the things they want to let the governor know is that, Six Flags Great America and parks like it aren't like a traveling circus, or a traveling carnival, right? That goes from city to city. They have sort of an infrastructure there and everything, and sort of explain some of these safety measures that we're going to be talking about. So one of the things that they're doing, like so many places, is they're trying to control the capacity inside the park when they reopen. They want to keep the numbers down lower, the crowds down lower than they have been in the past. So one of the ways they're going to do this is with a reservation system. So I asked them about this reservation system and exactly how that's going to work. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about this by now, but if not, here's just a little bit of a refresher. Take a listen.
In the past, you were just able to come on any given day, whether you're a season pass holder, a member, or just having a single day ticket. You won't be able to do that anymore without making a reservation through our reservation system first. That will allow us to know when you're coming, the day you're coming, the time even of day that you're coming, and we'll be able to manage the amount of people coming into the park. So capacity control is going to be the very first step. We will be opening at a lower capacity. We're going to start at around the 25% capacity level, probably even start a little bit lower than that until we understand what the park looks like at these different levels with the new normal here in the park. So we need to make sure we're doing it right, that there's plenty of space. We're actually, Marcus, a 300-acre theme park. If you talk about some of the forest preserves, the parks, and other places around Lake County, for instance, they are much, much, much smaller that are open today. So we just think our footprint, our size, allows us to be socially distant. It allows our guests to be socially distant more than ever before.
So one of the things that I've heard from a lot of you about this reservation system is...
Okay, I'm hoping I'm not echoing here. A lot has been said in the last couple of days about capacity. And there are really two ways that that's measured. We have a theoretical capacity. And that's based on the maximum number of people who can actually fit in the park. That's really high. And it probably has never been seen. To my knowledge, it's never been seen. Then there's a guest comfort capacity, and that's the point at which you want to limit entry into the park. It seems from what I've seen that Six Flags is going to be using the theoretical capacity. And I know I have an echo. Sorry. Also think of it like a spigot. It's going to start just a few drips, and I can see them upping the ante as it gets further into the season.
Yeah, I see the same thing happening too. They'll probably start small, see how it works out, and as time progresses, they'll probably keep adding and adding up until the point that they've hit that point where, okay, we can't really let any more people in. But yeah, I definitely see it starting out small and sort of growing from there. So let's go ahead and roll the rest of the video here.
The worry that with only 20-25% of capacity starting with this, that some of those key dates or weekend dates that you like to go to Six Flags Great America as a season pass holder, as a membership, as a member, that a lot of those prime dates might be gone like that. So how is the system going to work? Will there be a rush to get certain dates once this happens? And what happens if all those dates fill up extremely quickly? I asked about that too.
Well, it is a first come, first serve system. So people will be able to go in. It opens up for Six Flags Great America. People will be able to go in. They'll pick the day they want to come and the time they want to come, and it'll automatically manage the capacity of that time. For people can't arrive any time before that time. So if they put in 10 a.m. on June the 28th, they would have to come on June the 28th anytime after 10 a.m. Again, that just keeps people from just jamming all at one time and trying to get here first. If that time is full, they can go on for another time that day. Once that day fills up, they would have to go to another day and select another day and another time. I think we're going to be as accommodating as possible. We do understand that this being closed and obviously the way that the season has gone so far, we need to make sure that we're taking care of our members and our season pass holders as well as anybody who has a ticket. And we've been through our fresh desk, through online and through phone calls, doing our very best to accommodate just about anybody we can. For memberships, for instance, if you do continue with your membership, it does tack on to the end, and we're also adding a free upgrade in memberships. So if you're a certain level of memberships and decide to continue to stay with us as a member, you automatically get a higher upgrade, a higher level of your memberships. We are putting memberships, season passes for every day that we're closed in 2020. We'll add that time on to 2021 when we're able to reopen. So we're being as cooperative as we can, understanding there is some hardship because of the circumstance.
All right, so a few things to follow up here because there's been a lot of confusion about some of the reporting on this, I think. So I just want to clarify some of this. So first of all, once you enter the park on the system, you don't have to leave by a certain time. So say if your entry time is 30, you have from 10:30 or later to enter the park. And once you're in, you can stay in, right? You can stay in the park. There's not like, well, you're in from 10:30 to 12:30, then all these people are out, then a new rush of people is coming in. They have a total overall number of people that want inside the park at all times, but they only want a certain number of people coming in at one point. They don't want a whole rush of all those people coming in right away at 9 a.m. because you crowd at the front. So they want to stagger the capacity coming into the park. So once you're in, you're in. You don't have to leave.
Okay, so just want to bring up something here on that. The count of people in the park is taken throughout the day, and Sarah probably has more insight on this than I actually do. So they know not only how many people are in the park, but they know how many people are leaving the park. So it is probably going to make it possible that spontaneous visits can occur. It just depends on how quickly they add more reservations, or if they have a standby line at the park in terms of letting people in. I mean, again, it is, there's no guarantee 100% that if you were in some standby line that you'd actually get in, but not a lot of people come and stay at the park all day. Is there anything you want to throw in there, Sarah?
I know I'm going to echo, so I'll make this quick. I know I'm going to echo, so I'll make this quick. They do take account on a busy day every half hour. They do take account on a busy day every half hour. And the literature does say, that you can show up to the park and make a reservation as you stand. You can show up to the park and make a reservation as you stand at the gates. At the gates.
You have to leave before the place closes. You can't sleep over, but you can't. They're not going to kick you out at a certain time during the day. Also, as people leave the park, that might open up more capacity. So as people leave the park and are leaving the premises, right, they might open up more reservations. They might throughout the day. So say if you're sitting around, like me, you don't live too far from Great America, and very often I sit around with my kids and all of a sudden we've got nothing to do in an afternoon. We want to shoot over to Great America for a couple of hours. You might be able to go onto the computer and look it up and say, hey, we can get in at 4 o'clock today, and then we can go in. And they might open up more reservation times throughout the day if the capacity is allowing that. How are they going to track that? I'm not quite sure, but that was something they said that might be a possibility. So checking the reservation system to see if a time opens up for you to come that day, is as early as that day. They're implementing so much new technology and attempt to implement so much new technology, including the entry of the park. So once you got your reservations, you show up, say your reservation time is at 10:30 a.m. Here's a little bit about what it's going to be like for you coming into the park after they reopen. Listen.
After that, it'll be a very revolutionary and very unique screening system coming into the park, a system called Evolve. And the Evolve system will actually allow temperature checks as well as bag entry, touchless bag entry, where we'll include metal detection and testing your bag for metal detection. You won't have to go through a screening where it is a touch screening once you're coming through the gate. At that point, we'll be doing social distancing. But in queue lines of restaurants, we'll be controlling the amount of people in our restaurants and retail shops and in lines for the rides. On the rides themselves, they'll be spaced out when you're on those rides, every other seat, every other row kind of spacing depending on that ride, as well as extreme sanitation. So we'll be wiping down basically the touch points, the handles on our rides, the restrooms, the tables in our restaurants, which will be further apart, of course, 6 feet apart. But we will be doing that much more regularly and much more extensively than we ever have before.
You mentioned a little bit about wiping down the coasters, for example. Do you do that between every dispatch?
We are going to do it in very high frequency. And I think we're going to have to take a look at what that means and how we can do it as efficiently and as effectively as possible. But these rides will be cleaner than they ever have been before.
So there you go. That was a lot to digest there. And you've probably seen some of the video going out from Six Flags of some of this technology and exactly how it's going to work. So you've got, not only do you have the brand new reservation system, which is all online, you've got the bag screening system where you walk in and they don't have to dig through your bag anymore. They can see right metal detection and everything else right into your bag. There's the virtual queuing system, which we'll talk about, mobile food ordering. There's so much technology they are going to attempt to implement here sort of right away as they open the park. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all comes together. And I talked to them. I want to get a hands-on look at all this as you all. And they said they would have me back out before the park opens to sort of run through all this, to take a look at it and see how it works. And we can put together a story for you on WGN.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, not sure why that video just all of a sudden just froze. Hopefully it comes back. Ashley can do some kind of dance or something in the meantime while hopefully we get the video back up and running. There we go.
Jamie will do the time warp. Jamie will do the time warp.
Jump to left. Jump to left.
Sorry, we're having problems playing the video.
I can do this one. I can do this one.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
We could do
I'm
left.
gonna
We
disappear
could do
for a
left
second
to
off here. We'll see if I can
right.
get this fixed, so you guys can talk amongst yourselves or entertain people or whatever you want to do.
So has anybody sent any questions in? Let's see if I can see the
Just reminding
comments.
us that we have an echo.
I didn't hear
we don't
your
have an
echo. See,
It's
without
weird.
Bob, we don't have an echo.
No, we're without Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah's the culprit.
I know one of the biggest things is everyone's so like, when's the park going to open? When's the park going to open? And we wish we knew.
Oh my God,
We would love to be there.
I want to let this newfound short hair out in the coastery wind.
Did I fix the echo?
I think so.
All right. Where's Bob?
Bob ran away.
We sent him away. He's in a better
I'm
place.
actually trying to get Marcus's video back up here, so I kind of took myself off of the stream for a moment.
So I even have found my candy corn for you guys. And found my Fright Fest t-shirt. So that I am full themed and cuckoo.
Did I get rid of the echo?
Yeah.
I think you did.
I'm
just reloading
stuff. Some of it my mother has, like my light up bulbs. My mom took those with her.
So while we're trying to fix this, if you guys have any questions about any of this so far, stuff that you've seen in the video, put them down in the comments.
Well,
now I can't hear anyone.
I got all my junkies with me.
Oh, wow.
That was a good, quick thing to come up with.
Right? On the spot.
I see Kyle's here. Coaster Llama's in the house.
Coaster Llama!
Yeah,
Thanks, Kyle.
Saying something here.
I was thinking
the question,
the
will we
same
be going to the
thing.
park?
I'm seeing Ed's. I'm thinking the same thing when they said that. Why couldn't they have made that scanner available, sooner? Because it would. I feel like it'll at least speed up security checks. At least I'm hoping that it would speed it up, so that you're not just standing there waiting for your bag to be checked. I have all my zippers undone for our bag.
Hey, Sarah, your echo's back.
Thank you.
My echo's
Y'all, I just got dinner.
It's when as soon as your mic is open, you hear it. But if I just muted your mic right now, and I think nobody else hears the echo. Very bizarre.
Mike Myers said, will you be going to the park when they are able to open? Me? Yes. I will definitely be going. Maybe not the whole day now, but we will go.
I think for my family, I have to look and see what it looks like. Just because I have to keep myself healthy, I don't know what my school year will look like. But in general, I'm very comfortable with the safety measures that they've put out.
God, this spaghetti is fire. Steaming. Who else is eating dinner and doing this watch party? What are the junkies eating?
It's Burger Day. It's National Burger Day. So
Is it
and I had a gyro.
Yeah.
A gyro? A gyro?
Gyro.
A gyro.
The one thing I wish they had in the park.
I would really love a Philly cheesesteak. Oh wait, hold on here. More coming in.
Kyle, I would have to agree with you. I have looked at the site, and it's pretty serious stuff, but I'm very happy that they went with that rather than clear bags as they originally teased. And I'm very hopeful that it'll go faster.
Hot dog. Hot dog, hot diggity dog.
I think we got
Mickey-
the video
Mickey Mouse
back.
Clubhouse?
This is
Anyone?
close to where we need to be.
Back in the day, back when my kids were younger.
We got cheers. It's time for cheers or something like that.
Yeah. Something like, we're all ears this time for cheers. Something like that. Oh, doodle.
Our current obsession is Chuggington.
Oh, I like Chuggington.
My daughter, who, to remind everyone, is 4, is now obsessed with Peter Pan, Frozen, Hocus Pocus, which is yes, and she was obsessed with PJ Masks. I gave her a PJ Masks party, and now she don't watch it anymore.
You ruined it for her.
I probably did. Be going to the park and bringing my daughter. Thankfully, her mother has approved the trip.
Yeah,
That's awesome, Kyle. That's good.
We can't have the park without Coaster Llama. It's
We
just
really
not a thing.
can't. Coaster Llama needs his own line of poop heads.
The
We
llama
should
now.
offer that in the junkie store.
So, Mike, I see your comment that you worked 3 years and they'll stay on top of enforcing new guidelines. I would have to agree. I worked there, I don't know if it was 8 or 9 years. If that's the expectation for safety and cleanliness, they will be on everyone for it. So, like I said, I don't know what my family will do yet, but I do feel confident in their safety plan.
I just think now there's so much more at risk that they have to follow through.
Well, and there's always like, I don't know if
After they reopen, take a listen.
After that, it'll be a very revolutionary and very unique screening system coming into the park. A system called Evolve. And the Evolve system will
Bob,
actually
we're in a
allow
loop.
temperature checks
Bob, we're in a loop.
as well as bag entry, touchless bag entry, where
And there's a horrible
metal
screech.
detection
And there's a
checking
horrible
bags
screech.
For metal detection,
Yeah,
you don't have to go
I think
through
it's gonna be
a
enough
screening
the
where
screen
it is
sharing.
a touch screening.
Yeah, it is Marcus's video. Let me try one
Oh,
time
we're
to
just
share it
chatting.
again. Yeah, we're just chatting. So you guys keep chatting. Let me see if I can get this going.
Okay. Yeah, I know like there are some park policies for employees, getting back to Mike's comment. An employee will get corrective action if they walk by a piece of garbage and they don't pick it up. So I know that each employee is going to have a little fanny pack, their safety pack with goggles and gloves and cleaning supplies. And I know that the expectation will be that employees clean. I'm very confident that will be. I was a supervisor at Six Flags. I know I enforced it. And I know everyone else I worked with enforced cleanliness rules.
We've seen some of the video going on from Six Flags, some of this technology and exactly how it's going to work. So you've got, not only do you have this brand new reservation system, which is all online, you've got the bag screening system where you walk in and they don't have to dig through your bag anymore. They can see right, metal detection and everything else right into your bag. There's the virtual queuing system, which we'll talk about, mobile food ordering. There's so much technology they are going to attempt to implement here sort of right away as they open the park. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all comes together. And I talked to them. I want to get a hands-on look at all this as you all. And they said they would have me back out before the park opens to sort of run through all this, to take a look at it and see how it works. And we can put together a story for you on WGN and on here to kind of show you how that's going to work and how they are going to try to make it all happen for you. But that's going to be pretty interesting. And you notice too, masks right now. In most places, I know in Illinois, you're asked to wear a mask mask anywhere where you cannot maintain social distance from somebody of 6 feet or more, in stores and everywhere else. So will we be required to wear masks at Six Flags Great America when they reopen? The answer is yes, but went through a little bit more detail on that. Take a listen.
All of our employees, all of our team members will be wearing masks. They will be wearing the proper protective equipment to make sure that they stay safe and to make sure that our guests stay safe as well.
So yeah, the team members are going to be wearing the masks, but also, yes, as of today, if the park were to open today, yes, guests would be wearing masks, and I asked some questions about that as well. Take a look.
We are going to have to understand a little bit more about the guidance from the CDC, the state of Illinois, and the local health department. We're going to be making that determination when the time comes. If we were to open today, I would say yes, our guests will be required to wear those, because just like you're required to wear them at a grocery store or a retail establishment when we go into phase 3, that would be the case should we reopen, and that still be the case for the park.
What about on a coaster?
Yes, and we have had tests and done tests at some of our other parks where we've run rides, and we will be requiring masks on some of the rides when we do reopen.
So basically, if masks are required to be worn in the state of Illinois, you will be wearing them at Six Flags Great America. Even on the roller coasters, they say they have tested that, and that is something that can happen. We've seen it on roller coasters in Asia. I know some other parks have been testing masks on their rides recently across the country. And yeah, so that'll be a go. If they do open and masks are required, you'll be wearing them on coasters. And speaking of coasters, how about the social distance?
All right, let's talk about masks. That is a hot topic on the page. You heard it right there from Hank himself. Yes, you will be wearing masks in the park. You will be wearing masks on the coasters. I know a lot of people are claiming that masks are really hot, but they're not saying you have to wear the N95 mask. Okay, Hank in the video, he's got a cloth mask on. So
please don't wear the N95 mask. That's really bad for you for that long.
I mean, they even have, I even have one I'm showing here. Just one of these paper disposable. These are very lightweight. They're not as hot as even the cloth mask.
I have one in a jersey fabric. It's very comfortable. I've gone out and walked in it just to test it out. It's like Ashley's. I have seen the tests. I have heard from people who have been on the rides. They all survived.
Now, here's something interesting I want to bring up about the masks. And this is something that I saw from one of the Disney sites that I follow, that Disney is actually going to be implementing what they're calling relaxation areas within the parks when they open. And basically, they haven't been clear on the details in terms of what this is or what it's going to entail, but they are going to have sections of the park where you can go and be in that specific area without a mask on. I mean, obviously, you're not going to have your mask on at the park all day. You want to sit down and have a meal, you can take your mask off. They're not going to ask you to eat a meal wearing a mask. You're trying to drink, some water, soda, you're going to be able to have your mask off. In terms of, are they going to have designated areas where you have to be eating or drinking with the mask off? That's yet to be determined, but I can probably see them coming out and saying, yeah, if you're going to have the mask off, you need to stay sort of in this particular area. Anything else? Anybody else want to add anything on mask?
I think that as time goes on, that they'll figure out a plan that will allow you to stay in a certain area and be without your mask and have your meal and everything and be able to put it to where how large your group is. Like, I don't know, this is off the top of my head, but I feel like they would be able to come up with a system to designate, if you have 2 people in your group, if you have 5 people in your group, something to where there's a designated area for larger amounts of people.
And I think we're forgetting how much dead space there is in Six Flags where people can spread out and have those areas, unused space. So I'm guessing there will be those kind of, back in the early 2000s, 90s, they had like the cool zones. I bet you there will be something similar.
Or what about opening the picnic grove?
Right.
Possibility.
My thought is Picnic Grove. You also have the back of Camp Cartoon. You can take the old Trailblazer area that they only use for a queue. There's a lot of little places.
The other thing to keep in mind too is if we don't open till stage 5, masks might just be might not even be the issue at all. We may not have that mask on. But according to the recovery plan, it seems everything up until phase 5 will require masks. So phase 3, which we're about to go into, and then phase 4, which is somewhere down the road. All right, should we roll the video some more?
Feature on roller coasters. How exactly will that work? Who will you be allowed to sit next to on the ride? Can you sit with the people that you came with? And how are you going to separate from all the other people on the ride? Here's what he had to say about that.
No, you will be able to sit with people in your party, but from a stranger, you will be socially distant on our rides. And it really depends whether there's every other row, every other seat. It depends on the ride. So we'll be making sure that there's great social distance in the proper social distance is a better way to say it in all of our rides when we are reopened.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly how they do that in the queue as you're coming in. Are certain rows roped off, or do they stagger? Like you go to this one and you go to that one, then they kind of rotate how people get in or don't get in. I'm guessing they'll be roped off so everyone's separated from each other. But the other thing about the queues is they say they will be introducing some kind of virtual waiting technology when they open up the park. I asked them about that as well. How's that going to work? Take a look.
We will be having, areas of spacing where your party and your group has to stay, which will be 6 feet away from the people in front of you and the people behind you. We will be managing those queue lines as well. So we'll be working with a virtual queuing system as well, where you're going to be managing how many people ride that ride at a certain time to make sure everybody's not jammed into one of our bigger rides as well.
So that was another question. Like, you'll have a virtual line system,
yes,
like a virtual waiting
system?
Will.
We will have a virtual waiting system of some kind, of some type, that we're still developing, but yeah, we will have a virtual line system as well.
You think that'll be like a permanent thing that comes out of this, maybe?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think, we're going to be a new normal of our theme park and the world for a while. And I think we're going to be learning some lessons on a lot of things. Technology is going to be a big, big part of our reopening. We think that technology is going to be something that we have developed for safety because of the COVID-19 situation. But we could learn some lessons, and our guests could like things that maybe become permanent, even when we're back to a relative new normal or a relative normal after a vaccine or a cure or whatever those situations are. They could be things that become permanent because they're just good for our business.
And what about mobile food ordering as well?
All right, before we go mobile food ordering that Mark was just about to talk about, any questions or anything on this virtual queue? And I just want to throw some out here to the group. And this hasn't been said yet, but do you think in terms of virtual queues, they're going to tell you which rows to sit on? You're no longer going to be able to request the front row, for example? What do you guys think?
I personally think that they're going to actually rotate where they put people on rides, so then they don't have to clean them after every cycle. So if you're running like odd number rows one cycle and the next cycle you're running even, then you clean your train. So I do think it's going to be very scripted where you go. They're going to go back to having those line expediters, letting people know exactly where to go.
Thoughts, comments from anybody out there? The virtual queue.
I think a lot of people are going to be upset that they won't be able to like say, I want to sit here.
Yeah.
So
Well, and then having to understand how so many people got those fast passes, especially here. So to make sure that that's honored for the people. I mean, I don't personally have a flash pass, but with the skip the lines and making sure that that's honored within that, because that's for Diamond Elite. That's about all we got was an extra skip the line. So I would hope that would help us jump the queue a little bit.
Did not give us much there. All right, let's see what they have to say about mobile food ordering.
That's been tested at some Six Flags parks across the country. There was talk that it was going to be introduced at Six Flags Great America last year. Will that be ready come opening day in 2020? Take a listen.
Will another part of the technology with the Six Flags app, you will be able to order in our restaurants through the virtual app, and then that food would be waiting for you from a touchless perspective, where you go pick it up and then you go to a table to eat that food as well.
Okay. You think that'll be ready when you open up?
I do. Yeah,
okay.
We'll be ready to implement that. It's already been tested. In fact, that was something that we were going to be rolling out long before the COVID-19 situation, and has been tested at a handful of our parks around the system.
And this is something a lot of people have been talking about. When will Great America be able to open once they get the okay from the state? So the state says, all right, we looked at your plans. We know what phase we're in now. We're ready for something like this to open. You guys have the green light to open up. How long will it take Great America to open the gates to let people back into the park? Let's say you get the okay from the state right now. They call and say, all right, you're good to go. How long does it take you to get up and running and open with all this stuff?
It's probably going to, we were about a month out from opening when the quarantine, when the stay-at-home order hit, and we decided as a company, and we actually were about a week before the state of Illinois with our stay-at-home order as a company, where we, basically had our folks working from home. It's going to take us about a month for us to get back, get the buildings in order, get our rides rehabbed. Part of that's going to be, the way we come back to work as well. We, coming back in shifts or all coming back together. But we feel like it's going to be about a month before we can get the majority of the park open.
So there's been a lot of reporting about this too, and a lot of talk about it. And I think it was clarified a little more as I talked to Hank throughout the morning, even after we were done with the interview. This doesn't necessarily mean that for them from today on, right? The park's about a month away from opening up. That doesn't mean that if they get the okay to open Great America on August 1st, that we're going to have to wait until September 1st to come back into Great America. What he's meaning when he says a month to open up, they need to get all their employees back into the park to be test the rides, to do maintenance on everything that needs maintenance, to implement all this technology and all the stuff that's in ready. You don't have to
I can step in while this is paused. What he's saying is, I have heard
employees back in the park, and they are cycling things. They are getting things ready for opening day when they do get the green light. So
I have heard that some of the maintenance team might be coming in as early as next week. So not all 4,500 employees, but there are a certain amount of employees that were on the property back in March. And I have heard that they will start coming in they have the green light come in. That's part of phase 3. So getting the coasters up, they're actually looking to start that process during the month of June. So it's not like, as Marcus said, it's not like if the green light comes July 3rd, we don't open until August 3rd. As soon as they can get everyone in, now they can bring front office people in. They can start training in small batches as long as it's social distance. They're going to be getting things ready. We may start to see some coasters cycling in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've sort of stopped the video at this point because it's starting to loop on my end and echo and get choppy, so I figure we'll just let that go and we'll just kind of address any questions anybody has.
Rebecca asked about dining passes, and I can actually share some of my experience getting a Frontier City reservation, which I probably won't keep, and my experience hanging out with the New Jersey crew the last couple of days in their Facebook group. But yes, if you have a dining pass, you can use it. Oh, thank you. There are certain season pass versions that you cannot use at other parks, limited season pass versions that you can't use. But all you really have to do is change your park in the app just by touching at the top, and you are entitled to everything. And Kyle's used it. The other thing I found out, and I'm not going to share this in writing in our group, so this is exclusive, is currently, even though the park says that you can only hold one reservation under your pass, currently, if you go through and create an order for a reservation, say for Frontier City, and you get that confirmation, you can go right back through and make another reservation. And also, they're not seeing a lot of things fill up in those parks, so I don't think we have to worry too much. I know everyone has anxiety about not getting a spot. It's not really how it's playing out. Now, not saying that the site isn't buggy, because it is pretty terrible, and I'm glad we're not in the first round. But it is working to make multiple.
I think our junkies are the ones that are going to be, going and like, oh my God. And then the people, like daily ticket holders are probably going to be the ones that are more standoffish and going, okay, I don't want to go. It's not worth it for that one day. But us who have, paid for season passes, memberships, we paid for all this stuff. We're like, no, we're going to go. So I think that's going to be more the capacity. Is that people that have passes?
I just knowing what I know about the count and how it's taken, really the only thing it will impact is, I don't think it's going to end capacity. I can't share specific numbers because I could still technically get sued. But I don't think you have to worry. Even if they're doing 25% of the comfortable guest capacity, you don't have to worry in most days. If they're spreading it out through the day and they can only keep 25% capacity at a given time, you definitely don't have to worry. I think there's a lot of anxiety because people throw these numbers out and don't really know. You're not going to worry. If you're someone who always likes to come first thing, maybe that's something you might not get in till you won't get in at 10:30. Maybe you'll get in at noon. But it's really just to spread out that front gate part. But I don't think it's going to be anything that you need to worry about for the most of the season. And it'll feel more comfortable, actually, because we won't have, remember that one Fright Fest day where it's just, or that weekend where it was just packed like sardines. That's not going to happen, and that's a great thing.
And hopefully by Fright Fest, masks and stuff won't be an issue.
Although that could be really fun.
I'm sure the park would sell some great Fright Fest masks. How much you think the mask that Hank had on is going to be selling for at the park?
That mask, I'm going to go for $17.99 because the Junkies sell a mask similar for $16.99, 15% off.
Way to plug us,
Sarah.
Kyle, I agree. We overestimate the willingness of the GP. Yep, we really do. We are not a true subset of the general population, the general public. We just aren't. We're definitely exceptional in many ways.
Which is why we're junkies.
Yeah.
You mean I'm not the only one ridiculed for going all the time?
No, I am too. I always like, well, we were at Six Flags. Oh, Looney Tunes masks would be amazing.
I only get to go on one again.
That used to be me. That used to be me. I worked at a summer camp after working at Six Flags for many years till it closed, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have summers off again. Feels really nice. Any other questions?
Anybody speak now?
No one's commenting.
Now, just going a little housekeeping tip here. We are starting to see a lot of duplicate posts on our page. So we do want to let you know that we are removing duplicates. Don't feel that we're taking your posts down because we don't like you. It's somebody beat you to it. Now, you may argue with us and say, well, person A posted the story from ABC, and I'm reporting NBC's. It's the same post. It's going to get removed.
Yeah, we're seeing it from both sides. We've got some diehard junkies that have been with us from the beginning, and they miss the fun. We do like to give news, but we like our photo trains and we like the fun. And sometimes when we have too many of those controversial posts and duplicates, it's the same conversation over and over again. And it's hard to moderate, and it's also exhausting for the people who just want to come and have fun and enjoy talking about the park.
And just because it's not on a post, it may be in a comment.
And you guys can help us out. Everyone can always help us out with the report post function.
Yep, just report it. We get a message and we'll take care of it.
I miss doing daily updates. I may start doing it. Just because.
Here. Christina, yeah, we don't like the asking when it will open either. Because so many people ask it over and over. I would suggest just waiting for, either Bob or Sarah or another moderator to post, something kind of concrete. Say, all right, junkies, it's time.
And
those are.
Don't torture yourself with looking at the app for clues. The app is not going to give you any clues. We have watched the 2 parks that have opened so far. It's been very coordinated with a big announcement on, actually, I think in both of them, they were national and local news. And then later that day, the app updated. So the app isn't going to give you clues. When the park is open, sometimes I can get to it and I'll give an answer. I try to be patient because we get new members all the time or people who haven't checked in with us all the time. And so I don't want to be that group that closes out new members, but often we're trying to answer it and then maybe close off commenting just because it's still going to be there, but we're trying to cut down.
Any comments from the 11 people who are still watching this, who stuck with us the whole hour?
Yeah.
We thank you.
We'll do this again. Maybe when we get happier news. I bet the next time we do this, we'll celebrate.
That's what will happen.
Yeah,
Leave in the
We'll
comments
celebrate
below
tomorrow.
if you
like
this.
we'll
Do these more frequently.
Yeah, well, Mike, I appreciate your words here. Just know that between the four of us, we have a lot of experience being at the park, and we actually do get a lot of information from a lot of sources that don't always want to be said publicly, but we have a lot of sources. So we have it covered. We're keeping pretty knowledgeable. Time versus spacing on rides. Well, I think the virtual queue is supposed to take care of that. But also, when there's a lowered capacity, I think it's going to be pretty proportional. And I would imagine that they'll try to run as many trains as they can to make up for it, just so they can cycle them and wash them. Oh, well, we're happy to have you, Christina.
We love you too.
All right.
All right.
Anything else? Last chance here before we sign off.
Well, I saw Flinard was on here. Feel very honored that he showed up too.
I love him.
He said he's still going to sit in the front. And you know what? I think he'll just have a special, front row pass.
I think the other person we need to give a quick thank you to is our very own Marcus Leshock. We were going to invite him to join us, but we know he's doing his own live thing right now, so maybe he'll catch this later on tonight when he's browsing.
He does follow our page, so we are very honored. Oh, I know. My new kitten. She's naughty.
No, we got a question from Kyle.
Kyle, I don't know. Okay, so I have a reservation. I have nothing to do that week. I am very tempted. I don't know. It's really hard. I have to look at the numbers around there, but I have not canceled my reservation, so I don't know.
I was planning on going Father's Day weekend, but we have canceled that.
How far is it again?
It's like 12 and a half hours.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no.
Yeah, it's difficult for me because I'm the only driver. So maybe when I have a driver next year, I don't know.
Our plan was to hit Oklahoma City, then down to the two Texas parks, and then that opened, so that's what cut us off.
Our plan this summer initially was to go to hit California's Great America and to see our twin. If you don't know, we have a twin park. And to hit up Discovery, whichever one is up by Sacramento, and do the dolphin experience that's free for Diamond Elite. That is not happening now. Yeah, you can swim with dolphins for free in California and feed giraffes for free. Oh, Jersey Devil, I know.
Yeah, Jersey was our initial plan. And we had moved it to Texas.
I actually think that we may open way before. I think it's going to be very hard. It's going to be hard to open those New Jersey, America, and New England. That's going to be a really hard push. So we are not going to be the last one open. Do we know when? We do not. Hank, I know that the rumor was that it was supposed to be today. But in the interview with Marcus, he said he's had the discussions with the village and the county, and that he's hoping to get some things going, but there was no date set. So My guess is they're going to want to get into phase 3 a little bit more before having that discussion.
And I guarantee once they do talk to the state and the government, Marcus will probably be reporting on it. He's kind of their go-to guy when it comes to the park.
If you don't know and haven't followed some of the news, for the first time ever in its history, Six Flags has hired a lobbying firm. And so a lot of what we're seeing and you're going to start seeing Hank on the news a lot more. That's my prediction. A lot of what you're seeing is part of that lobbying effort. So they have their people in Springfield right now. They have their people in each of the areas that have a park that could open. And if you listen to Hank's language, he's measured it very carefully, and it's usually in line with the kind of language you hear in the Illinois press conferences to kind of try to show alignment with the direction that Illinois is going. So I think that we will definitely hear about a meeting once it happens, but from the Six Flags perspective. So we may not get a big. It's going to be a process.
All right, I think that's it with questions.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye,
See you soon. Bye, Junkies.
Thanks for the
support.